What is up, everyone? Today, Bitcoin pumped up to 57,600. So I wanted to discuss that, plus the run up we have seen on Nvidia, as well as who is buying and who is selling, and my top pick for the day of what altcoin you could be looking at to get a 5 to 10x return in the next bull run cycle. All right, guys, trying this one more time. Had a lot of technical difficulties today, but let's get started. So as you can see, Bitcoin is now sitting at 56, 600, 700 price range, and Nvidia also has had this amazing run since Q3 of 2023, and this has just been massive. But what I wanted to discuss with this NVIDIA price action is what usually happens whenever we see price moves like this. So if we zoom out here a little bit and we go back to uh, the price run that we had, the run up we had into this area right here, we had this major move up and then we had this big sell off. Now this is pretty typical um, of any really massive quick run, and NVIDIA is notorious for this. You can see it that we had it there, and we've also seen this here in the past where we've had these massive run ups and then we sell back off. So I also want to discuss who is buying and who is selling. Well, if you didn't know, Jeff Bezos has been selling his Amazon stock, as well as some of his other financial guys and chief officers. And as we can see here, there's been a lot of sales on Amazon, including Jeff Bezos, who sold $2.4 billion of his own stocks. And there's some speculation that these billionaires and these whales and these big people that really know what's going on, they are selling in order to buy possibly more Bitcoin. So everyone's kind of been eyeing Bitcoin. We know we're approaching the halving cycle. And if we look over here on Twitter at Eric Balchino's post, excuse me, uh, he said this morning another thing about the IVIT ETF is that the volume is notable this morning pre-market, and it's already seen $80 million traded. Only 5 other ETFs have more activity ahead of them pre-market, and that's unprecedented for a 2-month-old ETF. So you've got these guys, these institutions, BlackRock, Fidelity, all these ETFs, they're buying Bitcoin right now. Why? Because this is the first time it's been available to a lot of these wealthy individuals who don't want to fool with setting up a wallet or trying to go out on these exchanges and buy Bitcoin. Now they can buy it with just an ETF, and the money just keeps flowing in. This is driving the price of Bitcoin. Another thing that we know as we approach the halving cycle is we typically have a pullback or a dip. I do believe that is still possible, but what I was doing a little more research on real estate the other day, and I ran across this chart here. This is the 18-year property chart. And so this coincides with the 7-year business cycle. And typically what you see is a rise in property prices followed by a pullback or a correction. And then you see those assets rise even sharper before a big pullback. And so this is pretty typical. We've seen this in the housing market back in the 1990s and 2000s. where we had housing prices rise up, and then we came into the dot-com bubble and we had about a 5% pullback, a little chop, and then it was onwards and upwards up until 2007. We know what all happened then. We all know what happened then, and we had this massive crash in the real estate market. Now, fast forward to where we're at today, from 2010 until now. Uh, During the 2010s, we had uh, pretty unrestricted monetary policy, low interest rates. We saw real estate climb. Um, and then as we came into COVID and shutdowns happened, we know the stock market crashed. Everything came to a stop. There's a little dip here in the real estate market. It's not that severe, but that's because everyone started working from home. And so there was just a lot more demand for houses. And then we saw this big run up. So is this big run up the start of another real estate crash? It could be. Um, I remember back in 2008 and 9 when the markets crashed then. Um, it takes a while to play out for sure. And so what happens is when people start losing their jobs and then they can't pay their mortgage, uh, typically after about 3 months, then the bank notifies them that they will be being foreclosed on. If they can't make the payments then the bank will proceed to move along with that process, which generally takes about 6 months or so for them to foreclose on someone's house. Now, of course, if they make a payment, then it can delay the process. But once the house is foreclosed on and the banks own it, then it takes a while for them to put it onto the market. Sometimes these banks hold on to these properties, especially if there's a lot of them. They don't want to flood the market with a bunch of um, empty properties, driving the market down further. And so sometimes they hold on to these properties and they eventually go onto the market, but it takes at least uh, 18 months to 24 months before these properties begin becoming available. So, and one of my goals is to prepare for this. I think everyone should kind of look out for this. You know, in any market, you need to be prepared and understand what the risks are. Um, but you know, we could see this recover. We could see a pullback in the stock markets and in the economy, and then the Fed starts having to cut rates and injecting more liquidity back into the market, start printing the money, and you're just going to see these asset prices continue to rise once that happens. So that's why I believe Bitcoin is going higher. Some people are calling this the a super cycle. It's taking off faster than they expected. They haven't seen this before. This is my first crypto uh, cycle, but um, people are even projecting that we may break all-time highs before the halving, and it's not that far away. Like I said, we were up to 57,600 this morning, and the all-time highs were up to like that $69,000 area. And really, if you break through this level as a technical trader, there's really no resistance once we get up this way. So, is it possible? Maybe. Um, I would say this run up has been pretty aggressive. We did see about a 20% pullback. All the pullbacks that we've had in this bull market have been about 20%. In previous bull markets, they were a little more, 25 to 30%, maybe 40%. But from what I see here, you know, if we do see a pullback, our first level will be at that $52,000 to $51,000 range, as well as the $48,000 range would be the next level. And I really don't think that we're going to see it pull back any further than this next lower range right here, this $41,000 to $43,000 level. because if we just take a measurement on that, that is about a 28% pullback. So I don't think it's going to get worse than that. Um, if the markets see a 10% pullback, then you may see something more like this where we get this 28% pullback. But yeah, there's a possibility of it. I think that we should see a pullback. I would like to see some consolidation here and a little pullback. That would be more healthy for the markets. Um, but really, from my point of view, from everything I see, all these dips should be buying opportunities. Now, on to the coin that I mentioned. I bought some of this today, this AVAV, ticker symbol AAVE. So this coin right now, as you can see, is in the top of this channel right here. We've got these upper and lower areas, and it's just set in a newer low or a higher low, and it's been making higher highs, trying to break through this resistance. Once it moves through this area, um, your next level of resistance is going to be in this 150 to 160 dollar range, so a 50% upside. And then after that, really, you got a little bit of resistance at 175, but probably more so in this $200 area. So you could get as much as a 2x here pretty quickly. Like I said, this could be a 5 or 10x altcoin. Um, and so you could see this rise back up to these previous highs here and get you that 5 or 10x. Um, like I said, I'm not a huge risk taker. This is a very small portion of my portfolio, but I do believe that, there's some real buying opportunities, especially when you look at how long this has been this low. Back here since May of 2022. So we're going on 2 years of sideways accumulation. We know the Bitcoin price is rising. Ethereum is starting to take off. Some of these other altcoins are starting to pump. And right now is the time to be getting in on some of these altcoins and Bitcoin and Ethereum, because we know with the halving cycle, we're going to have decreased supply and increased demand coming from these big institutions. And Bitcoin is really being uh, labeled as a flight to safety, a flight to security, the new digital gold. So, as you know, I just rolled over a portion of my IRA into an iTrust Capital IRA where I can buy these crypto assets, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and some of these other altcoins, as well as gold and silver, just in case we do see some sort of bigger correction this year. As we know, uh, gold is a flight to safety, Bitcoin is a flight to safety. So you're going to see these assets pump. Gold is sitting around $2,000 an ounce right now. It's making a triple top, and a lot of people expect it to break out and run up to the $24,000, $25,000 per ounce range. So iTrust Capital allows you to invest in Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, and a lot of these other big altcoins, as well as gold and silver. So if you're something you're interested in, you can click the link down in my description below. Um, but yeah, like I said, I think things are about to get pretty wild in the crypto markets. Um, being an investor and swing trader for over 20 years, I just see that this is a kind of one of those once in a lifetime opportunities. They're rare, they don't come along very often. Um, you hear about them, and I've seen a couple in my lifetime, maybe. One of them being the great financial crisis when I first started really getting into stocks and trading stocks, and then flipping houses, um, as well as COVID. Whenever COVID hit, I just kind of knew that something seemed like something was going on. So I had a bunch of cash sitting on the sideline. And when COVID hit, uh, I was able to buy and take advantage of those opportunities. And that's what it's all about. So, if you want to make money uh, in the stock market and trading and investing, feel free to follow me. And I hope everyone has a great day. And like I said, you can support me by hitting the like button or subscribe. And I'm going to continue bringing videos like these here to this channel. All right, guys, I hope everyone has a great day.